Welcome, welcome, everybody. Just give everybody a minute here to get in, and then we'll get started. All right. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's an absolutely gorgeous day here in New Hampshire today, so hoping that it's nice where you are too. All right. I think we'll get started. We're going to talk about, I guess I should introduce myself. I always assume everybody knows everybody, but I'm Camille. I'm the executive director here at Needle Marketing, and I'm joined by Camilla, who is our community manager, and Meisel, who is our client manager. And today we're going to talk about email, which is probably doesn't sound super exciting, but it is actually one of the easiest and kind of like a fundamental aspect of your digital marketing strategy. So we thought it was important to go over it. It's also very accessible to everybody. So anyway, I guess we'll just get started. And the way we run these is, just stay on mute unless you have a question, and then go ahead and unmute yourself and chime in, and or you can put a question in the chat, and maybe Camilla, you can keep an eye on the chat for me. Yep. And we can take it from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So everybody can see that, I hope. Okay. So, sorry, I'm just rearranging my screen here. Okay. Building your email list and using it. So those are two different things. And obviously they're both important. And we'll just get to it. So the first part is, I just want to talk about email marketing. So email marketing is like I said before, is really a fundamental piece of any digital marketing strategy. It helps you connect with your target audience in a very personalized way. Well, not very personalized, but in a personalized way. And it's very affordable. So that's why we always look to it as a key component. So what is an email list? It is really just a list of email addresses that you've collected from people who have shown some interest in your school or in some other way. You may also have, in addition to just the email address, you may have their name and maybe some additional information. Hopefully you do have some of this additional information associated with each email address. And you use that list to send content in the form of email messages directly to your contacts. Why build one? So email connects with busy parents because parents are very likely to check their email every day, but they may go days without checking social media, right? And when you send an email, it's delivered directly to them in their inbox, and it'll stay as an unread message until it's opened. For that reason, they have more staying power than social media, and social media posts are considered a very short expiry kind of pieces of content, whereas emails are rarely missed. If you think about, if you post something on a Facebook feed, if they're not looking at it that day, they might not see it. It's very easy to be missed, whereas email is going right to them, right to their inbox. They are a more personal way of communicating, especially if you're using a system like our Montessori CRM, where you can, when you send out, even if you're sending out a mass email, and if you have their name associated with it and you have a system that can kind of do a mail merge on that, then each recipient feels like they're getting this personal email message from you, and they can reply and they are replying directly to you if you have your system set up correctly, where you are the return address. So this helps to build, trust and a connection with your prospective parents and your current parents, everybody on your contact list. So you can just kind of think of it as writing a personal letter to a prospective family. If you write these with that in mind as you're kind of composing these emails, try to make them as personal as possible, so that one beef I kind of have sometimes is when you're writing to a big email list, and people will say, "Hi everyone," or "Dear parents," or something like that. But it's really, the reader is one single person, right? So when you think about composing your emails, say, if you're using their name, it's perfect. You can say, "Hi Camille, da 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 da," and then it's fine. Or, even if it is a generic one, if you don't have that ability, you can say "Dear parent" or something like that, because it is the individual who is reading that email. Even though you, from your perspective, and you are writing it to all the parents, but the recipient is one single person. The other advantage to email is that you own it. You build this up and it is yours. You can organize it any way you want. You don't have to pay anyone to use it. And it's an always growing list of prospective families. But your ownership of it is really, it makes it very valuable. It's your personalized list. You can go out and buy an email list, but that's not what we're talking about here, because those are not going to be nearly as useful to you as one that you build up sort of organically through your website and other methods. So how do you build up that email list? First, a couple of points is, first of all, you need to decide where you're going to keep it. And we highly recommend that you use a system that will allow you to store that additional information so that you can make those emails more personal. A minimum, obviously, is that first name. So at least you can, personalize your emails that way. Consider the Montessori CRM. We're just plugging ourself here a little bit. But it really does simplify the storage and organization of your email list. And there's other services too, like MailChimp or Constant Contact. They do lack the additional benefits of our CRM with, the built-in scheduling and admissions pipeline features of it. But they also, obviously, that's all they do. So they do these email lists very, very well. And it's always important to include a way for subscribers to unsubscribe from your email list. In other parts of the world, this is a requirement. It's a legal requirement. So, and it's also, just going to make your recipients upset if they don't want to get your emails and there's no way to unsubscribe. The next step is to determine the organization. How do you want to organize your list? And this is where they start to get very, email starts to become a very powerful marketing tool, because you can, if you're using a system that allows you to tag contacts with different pieces of information, then it becomes more of a database, and you can start to kind of slice and dice your list. And if you have specific emails that need to go out to specific groups of parents, then you can easily do that. So someone I see from Wally, when sending a mass email through your CRM, does it add the person's first name, like Dear Camille? Yes, it does. In fact, you can customize it completely, and any information that you collect on a form from that contact, you can then put into an email later. So like, for example, their child's name, or maybe what town they live in, or different things like that could help you to just personalize the emails that go out. So some ideas for how you might want to like tag your contacts, how you acquired their email address. Did it come in through your general inquiry form? Did they come to an open house? Did they, this is just information to keep track of. Maybe the age or program level of their children, the year they were added to the list. This could be helpful if, every once in a while you kind of need to do some housekeeping on your list and say, if somebody was added to the list 3 years ago and they're still, not an enrolled parent at this point, then, maybe it's time to kind of clean up the list a bit and eliminate the contacts that are really not active. Also, it's not only for prospective parents. You probably have an email list for all your current parents, obviously. Do you have a list of all your alumni parents? And this could all be the same list if you have a system that can categorize them that way. So it becomes almost easier that way, because originally they come in, they're prospective, and then, they enroll, and then you just change that to be current, and then their child, graduates, and then they're an alumni parent. So this is really just all different ways that you can organize it. By using the tagging system, in the CRM, our CRM, you can attach any number of tags. So one parent could be tagged as like 2021 general inquiry form, which is how they were, how they got on the list, prospective, and elementary. So that gives you all these different ways to slice and dice your list. Giving some thought to how you'll categorize your contacts up front will help make your list easier to maintain as it grows and allow you to target special email messages to specific audiences. Does anybody have any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward. This is just a screenshot from our CRM. It's just our demo site, but you can see here where we have the name, and we can also access first name, last name here, phone number. These are fictitious people here, but when they were added to the list is automatically, or added to the CRM is automatically added. And then these are tags over here. This is what I'm talking about. So this one is an alumni donor. This one completed tuition request and is a prospective parent. This one was added in 2021. This one completed the tour, and anyway, you get the idea. So you can have any number of these tags. It's important to give some thought to how you would like to organize them, so that otherwise they can kind of get willy-nilly messy all over the place. But think about the categories and then how you would want to categorize everybody. So the next step is to continue to grow your email list. So now that you've figured out where to store it and how to organize it, then you want to start putting some thought into how you're going to add new contacts to your list. And there's a lot of ways to do this, and it's an ongoing process. So the first obvious way is just to include that contact us form on your website. This is much more, it's better than just having an email address on your website where someone would email you, because usually when you have a form, then it's going into something like a CRM or even just a spreadsheet or something, so that it becomes a little bit more structured, rather than you having to go back and look through all your emails for different addresses. Keep that form simple. Studies have shown that removing as little as one form field can boost submission by as much as 26%, meaning I think the sweet spot there is about 4, maybe 5 fields. You do not want a big inquiry form that has, parent 1, parent 2, and your child and their birth date and their gender and all this extra information. A parent's going to look at that and say, I just want to find out a little bit more about your school. I don't want to give you my my whole life history here in order to just do that. So the purpose of this is just, you really just want to get their contact information. So they want to get some information from you, but just keep it simple. So ask for just the essential information: first name, last name, email address. That's really all you need. So make those required on a form. That most forms have a way to have fields, like you can't submit the form unless there's something in that field. And then optional, you could ask for a phone and what program they're interested in. But if by making it optional, they don't have to fill that out. So that might make them more inclined to submit the form. And it's always a good idea just to include kind of a free form text field for general questions or comments, because they might have a specific question for you. So here's an example from our demo site again. This is on the contact page. If you would like to learn more about your Montessori school, please complete this form. First name, last name, phone, email. This is a drop down here that they can choose what program they're interested in. And then here's that free form field for questions, and then just request information, and that's it. Another way to gather contact information is to offer online tour scheduling on your website. So there's a lot of advantages to offering online tour scheduling. But one of them, that kind of the natural byproduct of that, is you get their contact information. So even if they schedule a tour and for some reason they can't come, or it doesn't pan out, or for whatever reason, you still have that contact information, so you can follow up with them. Obviously, tour scheduling is advantageous for other reasons as well. Mainly, you catch them when they're really excited about your school, they're looking at your website, and they can schedule that tour right when they're in that moment of being excited about your school, and boom, they've got like an appointment on their calendar to come in, or virtual tour, or whatever it happens to be. And again, this is just a screenshot of our demo site where you can actually see, this is probably better to demo it live, but select a time, pick a date and time, and then again, there's a form that follows up with the contact information. So other ways to collect contact information off your website is to offer lead magnets. And a lead magnet is something of value that you offer for free to a website visitor in return for their name and email address. So your tuition information is your strongest lead magnet on your website, mainly because it's something parents really want to know. And I talked to a lot of schools, and some people, it's very interesting how schools feel about this. Many schools just have their tuition right on their website. Some of them don't have their tuition at all on their website and don't offer a way to get it. And then there's what I think is like the perfect kind of happy medium here, is to put a form on your website and say, hey, if you want our tuition information, submit this form. And then you have something like our CRM in the background that delivers it right into their inbox. So they're getting it right away, but you're also getting their contact information. I'm just curious, I'm just going to stop here for a minute and ask what you do on your website with regard to tuition, showing tuition right on your site, and how or not, and how you feel about that. Does anybody have any thoughts around that?
I put it on my site, but you have to know where to go. So you've got to go. I put it on my site, but you do have to know where to go. But I put it there so that parents, you have to download the information saying that you want an application and that you're interested in looking. And as soon as you open that up, it's on the bottom of that. Kind of because it frustrates me when I have to give all my email and then I think you're going to spam me. So oftentimes if I have to get for information that I'm not so sure, I'm just looking for something, I won't go any further. I don't need junk mail coming from people, you're looking at health clubs or whatever the case may be. So that was kind of my theory. I get a lot of calls though, of people going, okay, I'm on your site, but I want to know how much your tuition is. So it kind of works. And then once it's right there, they're like, oh. So it's our kind of policy not to hide anything, but so it's kind of the one step we use for that. That's just how we do it.
Mm-hmm. I think, go ahead, sorry.
We have it on our application, which they have to click on the link. So it's not just on the web page. So it'll say tuition information detailed in the application, which is below it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone sees it and they'll ask, but it's kind of somewhat hidden, but still accessible.
Mm-hmm. And if someone clicks on that link though, you don't know who's clicking on that link. Like you don't know who's accessing your content.
No, yeah, we're not capturing that information in that way. That's true.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
And same for Tamika with what she's got. So.
Camille, this is Wally.
Mm-hmm.
You guys built us the lead magnet that we use for catching the email address and before sending out the tuition. And that's fine. The thing is that I think the way you guys have it set up that that once you do that, there is a automatic trigger of nurturing email that you can have, which is nice. But if you don't want to start the nurturing email at that time, or wait till the parent actually comes for a tour, there is not a way to do that, at least through the CRM system that you guys have. And I've discussed that with myself in terms of how to do that.
No, we could set it up that way. I mean, not to throw myself under the bus here, but
yeah, you just did.
Sorry, sorry about that.
No, I'm working with him.
Yeah, no, you can certainly have it just deliver the tuition information and then not have it roll over directly to that email nurture. And then you can manually put them into that email nurture after they've had a tour.
Yeah, that is the issue, that it is manual. There's no automatic trigger that can happen because of the way the thing is set up. And it is, I think he has disabled it for us. But actually, I mean, I like to have an automated system that once the tour occurs, the nurturing email goes out. But anyway.
So you actually, I know we're getting down to the weeds here. You can do that, but you have to confirm that they actually came for the tour. So there would be a manual thing. So if you confirmed that they came for the tour, then that could trigger automatically them getting the email nurture. But you have to, like, our CRM doesn't know and can't have any way of knowing if someone actually showed up for a tour. So unless you tell it, so
we'll work on that.
Yeah. But so the idea is that, and I'll just say and some of you probably heard me say this before, because I did admissions before, and I was a Neato marketing client before, and somebody, when Qasim said, you really should put your tuition behind a form, and I was the same way, because I think as Montessorians, we feel like, oh, that feels kind of a little, salesy, and we're so we just have this aversion to that. But when you think about it, if a parent is interested enough in your school to want to know what the tuition is, then and the emails that you send them, there's a lot around this topic. The emails that you send them, if you do follow up with an email nurture, make them, write them yourself, really have them describe your school, describe Montessori, it adds so much context and value, and helps communicate the value of what they're getting for that tuitions. Because so often they will come to a website, and if they don't know much about Montessori yet, they may just they go right to the tuition page, and that's the first thing they look at. And then they might get those tuition numbers and say, that's not going to work for me. But they don't know the difference between your school and the, generic preschool down the block. So what this enables you to do is follow up with some communication in the form of emails that says, hey, not besides just a thank you, but it helps to educate them, because chances are they may not have spent the time on your website to learn about who you really are. And again, you have that unsubscribe link. And even in that very first email that you send out, if you're feeling like it's really all how you word it. If that first email that goes out said, hey, I'd like to send you a few emails about our school or whatever. If you don't want to receive these, go ahead and click this link right now and you won't hear from me again, And I don't think that will feel spammy to people at all. I think what you have to kind of come into the mindset of is you are providing information to somebody who is looking for information about your school. So I think it's a good idea to try to get over that aversion somewhat. We have to try to, communicate about Montessori, because once they understand about it, it really sells itself. So in any event, I was against doing this, and I said, okay, I'll just try it. I mean, that's the other thing, just try it. If it's not working, you can always go back to putting it back on your website, your tuition. But I remember, and I'm in a fairly rural area, I had 11 leads over the weekend, over a Saturday and Sunday when I first put this up. And so I was like, wow, there's really quite a few people who are looking at the website. And anyway, I feel pretty strongly about this, and I would encourage people to at least try it and see how it works for you. I kind of commandeered that. Anybody else have any comments?
Camille, I felt the same way. I know we had conversations around it, and I felt very strongly about not doing it because of divorcing the value from the numbers. And so many people would come into our tour our school and they would be like, oh, and I didn't want that to not happen. But after talking with you a lot and your suggestions, that's how we are doing it. And it has worked tremendously. It has really enabled us to follow up seamlessly. And I think they appreciate it, and we get the information, and it has been great. And I was definitely not wanting to put it out there. So that's my 2 cents, and I appreciate it.
I love hearing that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I think what you have to remember is you're going to be the one defining what those emails are or how you follow up with these people. So if you write, polite, nice emails about, things, it's a topic that they want to know about, it's not going to be received in a negative light. So anyway, I would just come back to lead magnets are a great way to gather and build your email list, and your tuition information is your strongest lead magnet. And this is another example from our demo site. The way we sort of get around any maybe a little bit of objection is say tuition varies by program. Complete this form for access to your customized rates for your child. So even if you are sending the same email to everybody who completes this form that has all of the tuition rates, it's kind of saying like, we want to send something that is has the tuition rates that are the ones for your child. So, all right. So other lead magnets. A PDF, in other words, a nicely formatted article such as Montessori or conventional, what's right for your family, or maybe 10 Montessori myths. We have a lot of these on on Montessori Thrive if you're looking for different articles that you can use as a lead magnet. I'm going to just quickly divert here to, if I should have done this before. And this is our demo site here. And right here, this is an example. First name and email, send me the white paper. It's very, very short and sweet, right? And so somebody might not be ready to schedule a tour, or they don't even want to inquire, but this might be something that catches their eye. The opportunity to take an online quiz, such as Is Montessori Right for My Family? That's something that we have on some of our sites that can be a good lead generator. There's a lot, but don't be generic, and offer specific information that is pertinent to your school and to Montessori. So in that light, think of questions or concerns many parents have when considering Montessori education for their child, and how can you help answer those questions? And I just started to, this is on Thrive, right under, I should, I'm just gonna go there too. I don't think so this is the Thrive collection, and right here under marketing, white papers and lead generators. I'm just going to scroll through these slowly. There's a lot of ideas here. This is the one I believe I have right here on this site. Some of these are kind of funny, like this one. What Louis Vuitton can teach you about Montessori, but and then a sample quiz here. So all of these are on Thrive, but you can see there's a lot of ideas. And what parent wouldn't maybe be interested in some of these if you're providing valuable information here. Okay. Did I miss any? Renee says, we do not share tuition, but I email it when people complete our inquiry form and invite them for our tour. Yeah, that's great. It's kind of the same. It's just if you have it automated, Renee, then it makes it a little easier and they get it right away. So, but either way, in that case, at least you're still getting their contact information, which is good. Okay, writing regular blog articles. That's another way to get a contact information, because somebody might want to subscribe to your blog. So you can have a subscription form there, then they'll get your blogs every time they're published. Anytime you have an open house or some other event and you put out a sign up form, always ask for the email address too. And if it's a paper form, which it typically is, for if you're having an in-person open house, make sure you take that piece of paper and you transfer that information into your online email list so that you can easily follow up with them. Okay, so that was all ways to build your email list. In other words, to keep it growing. And it's not something that, I'll just say, it takes a while to build up your email list. It's not that something that you can just, put these forms on your website and all of a sudden, I mean, that's common sense, but just know that it does take a while to build it up. So once you have this growing email list, there's a lot of ways you can use it to raise awareness of your school. And then just remember to personalize them if you can, including the recipient's name. So probably the number one way to utilize your email list is just to send out a regular newsletter with interesting content and links back to your website. So by doing that, you're encouraging parents to return to your website to learn more about your school. So what to put in a newsletter. Now, if these are going out to prospective parents, then ideally it is maybe a couple of paragraphs about your latest blog post, some happenings at your school. these emails don't have to be long, and they shouldn't be long. The point of them is just to remind parents about your school and provide some links back to your website to encourage further engagement. So if they haven't already scheduled a tour or things like that, if your email has links that go back to your website, that's going to drive them back to your website. Obviously, emails work great to notify parents about special events. So if you're building up your email list and then you have an event like an open house, then you can send out just a big email blast to your list about the open house or the info session or the fundraiser, whatever it is that you're having. Now, obviously, you may want to consider advertising for these events too, but think about it. Your email's free, and it's going to people who are already have shown an interest to you about your school. So, and you might consider designing a nice looking email. And by that, I mean, nicely formatted, and we've all received those, rather than just kind of a text one, maybe include some graphics. And then maybe if you have the ability, RSVPs, that's a nice way to find out who's coming to your events too. So notify parents about upcoming admissions deadlines. So this is great, especially if you've segmented your list so that the parents who have really shown an interest, and you think, yeah, I think they're gonna apply. Maybe segment that list off and keep them really updated on the state of your admissions, because creating a sense of urgency really can make fence sitters take action. Anyway, so just, use a well-written email to keep your prospective parents informed about the status of your school's admissions. The point is with emails is to try to maintain a regular, it doesn't have to be super regular in the sense of like every Monday we send out a newsletter or whatever, but you want an email from your school to show up in their inbox frequently, and you can define what frequently is, but again, it's keeping your school top of mind and reminding them again, who you are and that you are an option for their child. We kind of already talked about this. This is the email nurture. This can be just really great in that you define what it is. You're educating prospective parents about the value of Montessori education. Emails provide a step-by-step approach to educate parents in a way that draws them in, entices them to dig deeper. And by step, I mean, you can look at it as like a series of little mini parent educations, parent eds, and you can automate this. So you write it once and then you just let it go, and it's beautiful in that way. This is just what our CRM looks like on the email nurture. So you define, this doesn't really show you too much, but you can define what the email says. So here, this is like a custom value. So it's automatically linking in the name of your school. You can automatically merge in the parent's name, obviously how it says, how often it goes. So that's all configurable. So there's a reason why email has been around a long time. It remains a personal, easy, and effective way to connect with parents and grow your admissions. So obviously we can help you with that, but there's a lot you can do on your own as well. So does anybody have any questions, comments?
Camille, how do we set up kind of an info session with Nido Marketing? Is that with you guys, or is there someone else that handles that?
To sort of learn about what services we have.
CRM, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just set up some time with me and I can go through things with you. Mm-hmm. I have a booking widget so that you can just schedule time on my calendar when it works for you. Yeah. I realize email isn't super exciting piece of, of technology. However, it's very easy to do. And it shouldn't be, it's still one of the most effective ways of communicating with prospective parents. I mean, we can talk to you about Google Ads and all this, everything else, but email's it's free and easy. So
Sorry, I have another question. For the emails, when you're saying that, is that kind of interchangeable with newsletter, or would a newsletter be something different in your mind?
a newsletter, I think, is an aspect of email marketing. I mean, it's a component of it. I mean, email marketing is really everything I just talked about. I mean, it's putting all the pieces together and making sure your list gets kind of segmented and tagged so you can target specific recipients, But the newsletter, well, it depends on what you mean by newsletter. I mean,
Yeah, I guess I sometimes have trouble thinking some content seems only applicable to current families. And then I don't know if I should be letting prospective or alumni look at some of the things we're doing in the classroom as a way of keeping community and marketing, or is it just allowing them to be privy to kind of the things that are in the classroom that maybe we don't want to show? I don't know.
Right. I think that you will always have newsletters that go out to your current parents that are just specific to your school and your current community. What you send to prospective parents can include a little bit of that, but what I would recommend, there are a couple things. One is, for example, the school that I used to work at, we do 3 times a year a newsletter that's really designed for the greater community, like meaning prospective, anybody, our whole big list, and it's about kind of bigger events maybe that have gone on at the school. I don't know what an example of that might be, but it might highlight a certain alumni, or it might just more of a story, maybe 2 or 3 stories about something that has gone on at your school that's just really more appropriate for a bigger audience than just your current parents. Your current parents want more granular information, right? They want to know kind of what's going on week to week and everything. And this is more bigger picture things. But aside from that, one of the things that we at Nido provide are email newsletters that correspond to our blogs. So the idea here is you post a blog on your website, and then you send out an email to your list that kind of talks a little bit about what the blog is about. It's just a paragraph or 2, and then says, hey, go read that on our website. So, and the blogs are generally, they're informative. So that email snippet, newsletter really can go to current parents, but that can also go to prospective parents because it's not specific to your school. It's more talking about parenting or child development, or once a month we have a book list that is, curated book list on different topics. So that's the kind of thing that you can send to prospective parents that keeps your name in their inbox. Happy to send a sample of that. So it might be easier to see. Actually, if you go to our website, and then you go to Montessori content, you can download here a sample content package. And this is a lead generator for us. Look at that. But what it does, it's a whole packet of, and you can see what the email newsletters are like for that. We'll include that. Oh, wow. There's a lot in the chat here. All right, I have it over here on my other screen. Let me just bring it up. think I just answered Elizabeth's question. Do we have samples of regular newsletters for prospective parents? Oh, you answered it, Camilla, sorry. Okay. Anybody else? Anything? All right. Camilla, did you want to maybe give an update on the Montessori Is video?
Yeah, so this past, I guess, just over a month now, we've been collecting different videos and clips from various Montessorians, whether they're teachers, administrators, or even students. And we're going to put together a campaign which Montessori Thrive is funding, where everyone kind of just says Montessori is, and they finish the sentence. It's coming together really nicely. We have some really cute responses from the children and what they have to say on Montessori. And we hope that the campaign raises awareness and kind of educates people who may not necessarily know what Montessori is like or what it's like going to a Montessori school, just what Montessori is about and what the values of Montessori really are. And we're going to be promoting this on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and possibly Google as well. And we'll hopefully be running this kind of midsummer onwards. But yeah, the video is coming together really great. If anyone has any additional videos to send or they want to participate in the campaign, you're welcome to send a clip. Most clips are just a few seconds long. They take about, I don't know, like less than a minute to record and send into my email. I'll drop my email here if you want to submit it to partake in the campaign. So it's camilla.campuzano@nidomarketing.com. And basically, yeah, just record a video of yourself saying Montessori is and finish the sentence. I think it'll be a great montage of kind of different perspectives on Montessori from people who either work in Montessori, attend a Montessori, or even parents in the community who admire what a Montessori education has brought into their households. So certainly if you have any desire to participate, you can still send me videos. But yeah, I think it's going really well. And thank you for everyone who has sent in a video, if anyone in the group has already.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited to see the finished product. I think it's going to be really fun.
Me too. Yeah, I think it'll be cute to see.
So, does anybody have any topics that they are looking to cover or would be interested in us covering in a future town hall? I mean, I always put that in the PS and my emails that I send out, but I really am sincere about that because we wanted these to be useful for you. So
we do have a few up just to give an idea of what's coming up. We do have someone to come speak on admissions later in the summer, kind of what problems, how they deal with issues with admissions processes and things like that. So we have someone to come talk about that. We also have, I think next week, someone to come and talk about how as a school and as a leader in your school, you can support the families of children that might have learning difficulties or special learning needs. We also have, I believe, later in the summer, someone to also come to talk about leadership and how to put a positive spin on it. So we have various topics, but yes, certainly always open to hear what you would like to see at our town halls and what you would find helpful. Oh, that's a great one, Allison. Thank you.
You know, CRM uses, you can text parents too. You have this contact list and you can email them or text them through the CRM. So, okay. Well, we're finishing up a little early, but I think that's probably okay. I had a feeling that this topic wasn't going to be a barn burner, but anyway.
Camille?
Yeah.
We will send you, I mean, off the top of my head, I don't have some topics, but we'll think about it and then send you an email on that. The number one issue that we have and most Montessori schools have, I understand this is not within the scope of what you guys do, but I just want to throw it out to the other listeners, is that the number one issue the schools are struggling with the shortage of Montessori teachers. Just want to throw it out. I know there's nothing for you guys to do about that, but that's the thing that we struggle day in and day out.
Yeah.
Wally, I'm seeing that a lot in different Montessori leadership groups online. It's a huge struggle. There are people who have had job postings for months and they just have
Mhm.
positions they can't fill. And maybe we can have an open forum on that and see kind of what people are doing, because I think it's not even a lack of trained people necessarily, but just people who, yeah, for some reason can't fill those positions. I've seen it a lot, Wally. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I think at this point in time, someone has a Montessori degree and they can walk, I mean, we'll just hire them, right? I mean, that's how bad it is. And forget about the quality of the teacher. And not only that, dealing with the teachers every day, you are literally walking on eggshell, because, I mean, God forbid you say something that goes the wrong way, they will leave and go somewhere else, right? And you are stuck with a classroom with no teachers. So it's a multiple facet that I think there's this. But at some point in time, if you want a general discussion of your community, that'd be fine. But I know that Kasim is not focused on this matter, but because it's not a marketing related issue, but it is an issue for us.
Wally, we do have, I mean, obviously this might not be the solution to the problem. We do have someone coming to speak on teacher onboarding, because we do hear a lot, the turnover is really high. Like people do tend to walk out when things don't go their way. That's been a problem that's been communicated throughout the leadership community. So perhaps that can help, but certainly a common problem. So thank you for bringing that up, Wally.
Wally, we did have a town hall about recruiting, and I don't know if were you able to?
I may have missed it. I'll go back and take a look.
Yeah, so go look at the recordings. Okay. And because we did a whole town hall about that. Great. And there, obviously there were no revelations in that town hall either. I mean, it's certainly a problem. And maybe it's a good sign in that maybe there's a lot more Montessori schools, and so the teachers are just in small supply because there's so many more schools. But it would be interesting to connect with some of the training centers to see, are they graduating fewer students, fewer teachers these days, or kind of what's causing the shortage now. It always has been difficult. I mean, the whole time I've been in Montessori, it's a struggle.
It is a catch-22, because we have spoken with more training centers. The training centers, they're saying, as a matter of fact, there's just one trying to open a training institute in North Carolina. The issues are that people are, first of all, I mean, it's just an ungodly amount of training that it requires to become a trainer. I mean, one of our teachers is doing that, takes 5 years to do that. So nobody can really make that kind of commitment, number one. Number two is that some training centers are having issues because they're not getting enough people signing up. So they're closing the training centers, like in Atlanta. So that's another issue. So there is a whole bunch of things that's going on. And if you're making the process of becoming a trainer so difficult for people, you're not going to commit to it either. So now you have shortage of trainers. Then you have basically shortage of training centers because people are not going to not signing up also. So it kind of is a double whammy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I hijacked the subject. This was not really the topic here, but anyway.
No, that's fine. I think we kind of wrapped up the topic. So, and this is an important one. So, we'll just keep that in mind when it comes to anything we could want to run across that might be helpful. That, I mean, I know that our school used to, it still does, sponsor teachers in training. I mean, and in exchange for a commitment for them to teach at the school for 3 years. So I don't know if that's
we have
anything
been
that
doing
you,
that too. It's a good idea. We have basically sponsored maybe 4 or 5 teachers over the
Mhm.
years. I mean, so that is one way we have gotten. The thing is, just last month, a teacher announced us that she was retiring all of a sudden. Here we are scrambling. What do we do in fall? But thank goodness she changed her mind. She wanted to stay 1 more year. So we're saved for at least for this year.
Well, I also think this year has been a particularly high in turnover just because of the situation. I know that when I go into other leadership groups, they're all saying, you know, a lot of teachers walked out this year. It's been too much. And then it's been really difficult to replace them. The demand is really, really high. And unfortunately, there are a low number of Montessori trained teachers out there. So yeah, I certainly think you're not alone in this. And you're lucky that she decided to stay on 1 more year.
Yeah, thank God.
I have a whole year to find somebody.
Yes,
to
whole year. I mean,
replace
I'm
me.
not very optimistic. There's enough time to still get one.
Yeah, yeah.
On the MA group that we participate in,
Mhm.
I mean, we get so many emergency yeah, postings. If you're looking for a teacher, you know, do you guys know anybody and all that, you know, I'll do anything that to get one. I mean, and it's fairly frequent that you get this kind of postings on the administrator's site.
Mhm. Well, I'm sure you're right, Camilla, that this year has just probably caused many teachers to just kind of say that, you know, this is just a little bit too much. I can't handle this. So that's not helping. But
Maybe Camille can go back to teaching.
me, I never was a teacher. I never was. So,
Oh, you never were a teacher. Okay. I see.
No. I started a school, but no, I was smart enough to know that that we needed to hire really good teachers, and that I was not one of them.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, anyway, does anybody else have anything else right now? I'm looking at a bunch of names. Nobody has their screens on. So, anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And as usual, we'll have the recording of this posted later on tonight or tomorrow. And if there's anything else, just always let us know. We're always happy to hear from you. So, all right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.